What's up? What's happening, folks? Welcome back to the channel, Sports, Life, and Politics TV. Today is September 1st. I'm Samuel Koppel, and I'm here for the news. Now, you guys, when I first started doing YouTube, and I started going over different news clips or whatnot, and, seeing what was going on internationally, nationally, and locally, I realized that I'm going to be ahead of the curve on a lot of things. Sometime in life, you have to toot your own horn, because others not going to do it. Period, point blank. And I ain't ashamed of it. I don't care. I'm telling you, on this channel, I'm ahead of the curve. If you want to just watch the news and just hear the same old stiff robot mannequins speak on what's going on, they don't give you no insight. They ain't asking no hard-hitting or tough questions. You can keep on watching that. But if you want foresight, insight, somebody who's using common sense and asking common sense questions, this is a channel for you. Now, this World War III video that you see right here in the middle, say World War III, what's America's role in it? And on the thumbnail says World War III, are we seeing the beginnings of it? Now, I made this video March the 11th, you guys. And at that time, that's exactly when Russia invaded the Ukraine. And in that video, I said, hey, man, watch out for China going into Taiwan. Yeah, you have to watch out for China going into Taiwan. Let's take a small look. I'm going to take about a 15-second look at this video I made because I want people to know I'm not just on this channel talking. I actually have some insight. Let's take a look, you guys. And China's watching this. Look. And China's watching this close because they want to go into Taiwan and take Taiwan back too. So that's why they're watching so closely. And people are trying to hold them accountable for what Russia's doing because they know that the Chinese eventually want to take Taiwan back. As you can see, you guys, let me see. I want you to see at the top, March 11th, 2022. March 11th, 2022, you guys. I made that video. Now, 3 weeks ago, I made this video because I realized, hey man, this thing is starting to escalate. China versus Taiwan versus America. Who will come out on top? How close are we to World War III? Nobody pays attention to this shit. The average person in America is caught up in the bullshit, but there's things that are happening globally that affects all of us. Whether it be food shortages, water contamination, it could be cyber attacks, all type of shit that we just have to pay attention and make sure that we keeping our eye on the ball and not just on the bullshit, which we're all distracted. I would admit, even myself, but this is why this channel is so important. Let's take a look at this video. This video was made August 8th. I just made this video 3 weeks ago, as you can see. Now we're gonna go to this Fox News clip that was made today. Now look at the title. Chang, this signals the beginning of the next global war. I'm ahead of the curve. I know that already. But I just want people to know that so when they watch this channel, you know you're not just watching for no bullshit. Let's take a look at this clip.
As the tensions mount in the South China Sea, Taiwan firing warning shots at a Chinese drone that flew over an offshore island during military exercises on Tuesday. Taipei officials doubling down, vowing to counterattack if China enters its territory.
Gordon Chang, senior fellow at the Bankstone Institute and author.
Now that's important, y'all. They said the government of Taiwan shot down a Chinese drone. And the Chinese are the biggest intellectual thieves on the planet. And you see the Chinese drones in this video look exactly like the American drones.
The coming collapse of China joins us now. Gordon, is this more provocation or is this the real deal? Or should we all get ready for World War III here?
Well, we certainly should get ready for a heightened state of tension, and I believe that the U.S. forces worldwide should move to DEFCON 2. Two things happened in the last few hours. One of them is Taiwan shot down a Chinese drone over one of its islets, Lion Islet, which is 4 kilometers from the Chinese mainland. But more important, the Chinese refused to move their drone after the firing of warning shots. In other words, China is trying to provoke a crisis. And this crisis obviously could spiral out of control. And what we have right now is this.
And for those of you who don't know, let me make sure I explain this. China feels like Taiwan is part of China, just like Russia feels like Ukraine is part of Russia. You know what I mean? So they feel like before the Americans got involved, this was part of their country. And now with the West being what the West is, interfering in everything, which, you know, when you're a global superpower, that's what you're going to do. They're now trying to take things back. Why? Because they feel like America is weaker than it's ever been in the last 100 years.
Situation which could very well end up in a general conflict in East Asia. You have a conflict in East Asia, a conflict in Ukraine, and that's really the beginnings of the world's next global war.
Where's Joe Biden? How should he be responding?
Joe Biden should be in front of a television camera right now, talking to the American people about getting ready for war. The Chinese are not only involved in what is the biggest military buildup since the Second War, what they're also doing is they're mobilizing the Chinese people for conflict. And we see this in any number of different ways. So this is a total society effort on the part of Xi Jinping, the Chinese ruler. We don't know what's going on in the.
And when they say there's a military buildup, 95% of the time when them people build all that shit up like that, they usually go to war. Like, because it costs too much to just be doing that shit for kicks and giggles. Yeah, it's too expensive to do it and then not reap the benefits of actually building up the military over towards Taiwan or building up the military on the borders of the Ukraine. Yeah, eventually they're going in, 100% guaranteed. It could be tomorrow, it could be next week, it could be next year, but I guarantee you guys, they're going in.
Chinese political system right now, the guess is that Xi has consolidated his power and he's now going after neighbors. If so, you know, the United States needs to be very firm in this. We need to be clear, saying we will defend Taiwan to prevent the Chinese attacking. Anything can happen right now, Todd and Ashley.
So, Gordon, is the U.S. military prepared for something like this? Can they handle this?
They're not prepared for a number of reasons. First of all, the Navy has been broken for a decade. The Air Force is not in great shape either. And also, the political leadership of in the Pentagon is not, I think, mentally prepared to fight a general war.
And that's scary that an American who's, you know, he actually understands what's going on globally. I mean, to his own extent, but obviously he kind of, you know, he has somewhat of an understanding there. He's saying that shit, they not prepared for that shit at all. We just came off 2 wars. We left Afghanistan holding our asses. So, you know, are we ready for a global war? Not really. Do America want a global war at this particular time? Hell no. Financially, we're not in position. I think the people don't really want no war. People are too worried about the LGBT rights and the racism and just all the other shit that's here. They not ready for that.
You know, they're much more interested in things like, you know, woke culture and the rest of it. But also, they believe that if a conflict with China comes, it'll come no earlier than 5 years from now, and that's why they're retiring ships and planes. They need to be ready for a conflict with China in the next few hours, not 5 years from now.
Well, the good news, Gordon, is that if the battle comes down to pronouns, it looks like we will win there in the U.S. military. That is.
He took a little shot.
When you look at places.
He took a shot. If it comes down to pronouns.
I don't think so. When Afghanistan was falling, the Chinese propaganda was that when China invaded Taiwan, not if Todd, but that when China invaded Taiwan, the U.S. would not rush to the island's defense. We, of course, saw not only the calamitous withdrawal from Afghanistan, but the failure of the West, the United States, the European Union, and Great Britain to deter a far weaker Russia in Ukraine. I think the Chinese have taken that on board, and they believe that the United States is not prepared to defend anyone at this particular time. Now, I'm not saying they're right, but that's what they're thinking. And that's extremely dangerous because deterrence is broken down. And the most dangerous periods in history are those when a country like the United States tries to reestablish deterrence. That's when things go horribly wrong.
You know, let's turn to this, Gordon. It was a long-awaited UN report, and it's citing patterns of abuse in China's treatment of the Uyghur minority. It was a 48-page report, and it was drawn from interviews with former detainees at 8 separate detention centers in the region. Were you shocked by this report?
I was shocked that it was so weak. Well, actually, we shouldn't be. It's the UN. But the point is that both Secretary Pompeo and Secretary Blinken both designated China as committing genocide. And that's clear from all the information we have. Why the UN couldn't dig that out itself and say those words is just wrong. And the question here is, what use is the UN when it can't tell us what the truth is?
So what use is this report? I mean, paper's nice, we all like nice reports, but what happens next? Will China face any real consequences in light of this report?
Well, China won't face no real consequences. America's still a superpower. Don't get me wrong, you guys. They still can defend the sea, they still can defend themselves, they still can wage war, but you want to wage war from a position of strength. You never want to wage war from a position of weakness. And right now, America is pretty weak right now based on all the wars we've been fighting over the last 25 years, y'all. These wars in Afghanistan, this war in Iraq, it has really drained the resources. It's lowered the morale of the soldiers and the troops and the generals. And the Chinese and the Russians feel like America is prime for the taking right now as far as globally, as far as enforcing their own rules and their governments on other small countries and countries that they feel like belong to them. Like Ukraine, most people in Ukraine speak Russian. I don't know why the fuck we even over there, but it is what it is, you guys. I just want you guys to keep your eyes on this shit. Seriously, keep your eyes on this. Pay attention and realize that there's just more going on than just things in America. Let's go to the next clip. Ring camera footage shows man shooting daughter's ex-boyfriend. And I said this before. If you're a lady, you know, you hear a lot of ladies and they say that they're anti-gun. If I was a woman, I'd be the most pro-gun motherfucker on the planet. The shit that I'm watching on some of these news clips is the shit that's happening to women and people. I mean, some of these guys are just terrorizing. When they get their hands on some of these women, they tearing their ass up. They can't accept that you're breaking up with them. They don't have no morals, no values. They don't believe in God. So it's dangerous as hell, y'all. When you don't believe in God, that demonic spirit can get on your ass very easily. But let's take a look at the clip. Some of the shit you see on these Ring cameras be unbelievable, too. These Ring cameras is catching everything, buddy. Golly. Home invasion, shootouts, all type of shit on these Ring cameras.
He's like, hey, he's coming back.
And you see the boyfriend? Everything about this man says loser. Scumbag, low life. He probably started to indulge in meth. He done tried every psychedelic on the planet. And he just can't accept that this girl doesn't want him anymore.
Nope, I'm fine. James, she doesn't want to talk to you.
You can hear the parents saying, James, no. You can hear the father in the house saying, get off my door. You know what I mean? So you can hear them telling him, man, quit wiggling that goddamn doorknob. And this is a question I want to ask you guys. When he got in that house, what you think he was about to do? He wasn't coming in there, bitch, to hand out Girl Scout cookies. Hey, he waxed his motherfucking ass. And look, I want to actually do this for the father. I don't care how insensitive a motherfucker think that a man just died. Fuck him. This man just tried to come through somebody's front fucking door. And if that was me and somebody did that shit right now, I would motherfucking blitz his ass. Let's take a look at it again. Nope. Hey, and you can guarantee one thing, you guys. That was the last door he was going to try to break down. You can see the neighbors come over to see what the fuck's going on. Look, he don't know. He's like, wait a minute, don't shoot no more. That man said, did you shoot him? Yes. He took a double step back when he said that shit.
Did you shoot him? Yes.
Look, he like, holy shit. Man just said he ain't going nowhere. You got that? You goddamn right he ain't going nowhere. Only place he probably going to now is hell. Look, I don't have sympathy or remorse for people who are trying to harm people inside their home. Them people had every right. That father had every right to protect his wife, his daughter, and his fucking self. He shot his ass 3 good times. I wonder what kind of gun he had. A lot of them old school white men, they be having the revolvers and shit. 357s and shit. You get shot with that shit's devastating. Yeah, that shit put your funky ass right to bed. The old school permanent dirt nap. You can see the police that showed up. They trying to figure out what the hell's going on. But hey, y'all, make sure that you get something in your house to protect yourself. Make sure you have a gun. All them baseball bats and mace, all that shit's cool. But you can't swing a bat to a motherfucker in the house. That gun, soon as you come through that door, you can turn the motherfucker right around. And you can see, y'all, he no longer wanted to break that door in. He went the exact opposite way. That's the beauty of having a weapon. Let's take a look at this. North Carolina deputy shot 5 times, returned fire, and hit suspect. And let me say this about the police. Being a police officer in this country, it's got to be one of the hardest jobs in the world. And I know it's a lot of shit that go on with the cops, and you know, there are some rotten apples in the police department. There's no doubt about that. But on a day-to-day basis, when them people pull people over, they don't know who the fuck these people are. His wife could have just left him. He could have just lost his job. He could be depressed. He can be suicidal. He can have 12 warrants and be on the run. He could be a serial killer. He could be a rapist, a pedophile. They don't know who they pulling over. So that's a dangerous job. I would never want to be no fucking police officer. I wouldn't want to deal with these nut jobs on the shit I'm watching on these news clips. Ain't no way I want to show up to these houses with domestic violence and the amount of drugs that's being used, meth and opioids and heroin and crack and it's ridiculous, y'all. It's a real demon it's a real demonic spirit on this country.
Initiate this February traffic stop on Aiden Bryant, the suspect in this case. There's no audio on the dash cam. This is the view from Williams' body-worn camera.
Turn your car off. Take your keys out of ignition.
As Wims approaches the car, what appears to be normal quickly turns into a life and death situation.
I know being shot in the leg, you can die. Being shot in the arm, you can die.
Sheriff Gary McFadden says Wims was shot in the leg and arm. He is thankful that he survived.
And you can see that man, before he can even get up on the car and give any directions, that man put that pistol out the window so subtly that it didn't get an officer time to even react. And you know bullets is moving fast. Let's take a small look at that again.
I know being
As Wims approaches the car, what appears to be normal quickly turns into a life and death situation.
I know being shot in the leg, you can die. Being shot in the arm, you can die.
Sheriff Gary McFadden says Wims was shot in the leg and arm. He is thankful that he survived.
All of his training kicked in, and that's what really, that one thing we're proud of, and how he handled himself. And if you hear the audio, he's calm. He's not that excited.
After the deputy shot, he returned fire, laying down a barrage of gunfire that made the suspect drive off. Then he stopped and got out of the car.
I think that he was going to come back and attempt to take her off.
Yeah, he was. He knew it was over. His life was over. So at that point, you know, he was ready to finish the police officer off.
As you can hear, the deputy calls it in and tells dispatchers he's been shot. The first responder on the scene is a CMPD officer. The officer applies a tourniquet to Wynn's arm, and then medic arrives and takes over.
We are thankful for medic. We're thankful for CMPD. We're thankful for Highway Patrol, but especially the hospitals. They did exactly what they were trained to do.
All right, CP, look at me. So we're gonna get you onto the stretcher. I'm gonna take care of you, okay? I got you.
The situation was so tense that you could hear Wims fade in and out of consciousness.
Keep talking to me.
Aiden Bryant, the suspect, was shot in the abdomen during the exchange of gunfire. Wims is still recovering from his injuries, but he hopes to return to the sheriff's department.
I want him to come back and have the conversation.
Yeah, shout out to that brother. Man, that's a danger. Listen to me, y'all. Being a police officer, that's a dangerous fucking job. You know, anytime I deal with the police, you guys, I don't sit there and go back and forth with these people. I show my hands. I put them on the steering wheel. I talk politely. Even when the guy's being an asshole, man, you're trying to make it back to your family. And you don't know what kind of encounters these people done already had. You don't know if a police been shot at. Some of these people be real itchy. Sometimes it be racism. Sometimes it just be a person want to make it back home and they nervous as a motherfucker. As you can see, hey man, that man stuck that gun out the window. He got off like it was like Grand Theft Auto, like a fucking video game. And you can see that man was out of his fucking mind. Some of these people, man, they're not mentally stable. Mental health is deteriorating in this country at a rate that like we've never seen. All right, let's go to the next clip, you guys. See what else is going on. Look at this shit. Viral video appears to show NYPD officer punch woman during arrest. Take a look at that.
30,000 views, and now residents are calling for an investigation into the NYPD. CBS 2's Dave Conlon live in Lower Manhattan with all the details. Dave.
An officer whose actions are being investigated and a woman awaiting arraignment behind me, stemming from an incident with a video that people are talking about. This is the video posted to social media that shows a chaotic arrest.
Now, he slapped the dog shit out of her. Now, could he have showed some decorum and not hit her like that? Yes. But honestly, you have no right to put your hands on an officer. You cannot do that. Now, he could have chose not to hit her, but I guarantee you they're not going to file no charges against this officer. That shit ain't happening. He had every right to slap the shit out of that lady once she started putting her hands on him. You can't do that. Let's take a small look again, you guys. See what you guys think. If you disagree, tell me in the comments. I don't give a damn. If you disagree, disagreements is part of life. Shit. Me and my wife don't agree on everything. Shit, and I love her, so that...
This is the video posted to social media that shows a chaotic arrest that you see get even more chaotic after this woman enters the frame. Identified as 19-year-old Tamani Crum, she confronts an officer as he arrested a man Crum reportedly knows. The woman engages the officer, appearing to slap him. And he responds with what looks like a wallop of a punch, causing her to fall backwards on the pavement.
He knocked the shit out of her. That nigga turned into Ike Turner.
Here is Crumb's grandmother.
He could knock her out. He's no better than the people who's knocking people out in the street.
Crumb's mother, who asked me not use her name and who did not make any public comments, sobbed as she stood next to the family's lawyer, Jamie Santana.
I'm here with the mother of the...
She ain't shed one tear. They trying to get paid, Jack.
shaken and devastated by the...
Look, she ain't shed one tear, y'all.
The officer involved.
Look, she still ain't shed a tear.
Approximately 3 times the
She trying though.
and size.
She got a Bible in her hand and everything.
And it's unacceptable. This has to stop.
The incident was on...
I'm gonna tell you what's got to stop. You, it's trying to obstruct the police. Yeah, that shit. I mean, you know you gonna get fucked up. Come on now, y'all. Some of this shit. They say that's racist. I'm gonna say this time and time. This is not the type of racism black people should be trying to fight, trying to stop. This is some bullshit. Keep your hands to your goddamn self.
6th Street, Tuesday around 5 p.m. NYPD sources tell CBS 2 there will be an investigation, but the officer's actions appear justified.
Told you.
The initial arrest was in a case of attempted murder. And police say the suspect, 22-year-old Elvin James, allegedly had a loaded gun at the time. Crumb is charged with assault on an officer, obstructing government administration, and resisting arrest.
I guarantee you one thing, she'll never put her hands on another officer.
We had the video looked at by Keith Taylor, a professor in the Department of Law, Police Science, and Criminal Justice Administration at John Jay College. When he was at NYPD, he supervised internal affairs, missing persons, and more. He calls this incident
awful but lawful. She's actively engaging, which is...
That man said awful but lawful.
In this case, assaulting the officer, and he responds in kind. We need to let the investigators do their job and see all the additional information.
Well, y'all, the moral of that shit. Hey, man, don't be trying to obstruct the police. And if you are, that's fine, but just understand they're going to respond. Period, point blank. There's no doubt about that. Let's look at this. Roswell man held 13-year-old for 3 weeks, filmed sex acts. Listen to me. I've made video after video. I talk about this. I always talk about what the Negro problems is and the shit that we need to do. And within the white race, pedophilia and opioids / methamphetamines is ravaging the white race. Ravaging. Look at this man. Look at the demonic spirit on this man. Look at him, y'all.
A judge sentenced a man.
I'll say sorry. Oh, that was the right video.
A judge sentenced a man to more than 17 years in prison for producing child pornography in Roswell. The suspect was a free man for 7 years, living in Las Vegas and using a fake name. Derek Hunt lured a 13-year-old to his place back in 2012. He then gave her drugs and had sex with her while filming it. He dropped the girl back off with his father.
And let me say this: I done these videos on these pedophiles, and they got pedophile rings, y'all, where they have websites where the only way you can be part of the website is you have to upload daily content, and you have to upload new content. It don't have to be daily, but you have to upload new content on a regular basis. That's what I'm trying to say. And the only way you can stay in there is just keep up. If you don't upload new content, they'll kick you out the group. So it's people who are incentivized to keep on sexually molesting small children, young girls, young boys. I'm telling y'all, man, we stay in a demonic world. Get you some weapons. Get yourself prepared for what's coming, y'all. I'm not bullshitting. And look at this nigga. Suspect accused of assaulting woman in L.A. fitness shower.
Shower at an LA Fitness.
Fox Denise Dillon talked to the gym manager and members.
Possibly one of the last places you'd think an assault like this would happen. At your regular gym, inside the women's locker room.
I would be very, very, very creeped out and afraid.
Women.
Black women in them eyelashes, buddy. Them eyelashes so long, she blinked too hard, she'd do a front flip. Unbelievable.
Shocked, disgusted, and creeped out after a woman was assaulted while taking a shower at the LA Fitness on Terrellville Road in Marietta.
How the guy go in there and the gal's room and do things like this? Horrible.
Warrants show this man, 31-year-old Matthew Carlisle, went into the gym a little before closing time last Thursday. According to the warrant, he went into the ladies' locker room and once there, saw a woman taking a shower, stepped into the shower with her, and grabbed her breast while pushing her against the wall.
That's crazy.
Yeah, hey, listen to me, that's nuts. I mean, ain't no telling what kind of sexual depravity he's into. Ain't no telling what's going on these porn sites, these people. I remember when I was coming up, I remember as a kid, the only kind of porn you can get, you might sneak a parent's VHS tape and you want to try to rewind it back to the same point it was when you put it back. And it was just normal sex, man, woman. Every once in a while you might get a lesbian. And I'm going to tell you what was real kinky was a threesome. Woo! Nowadays, y'all, if you click on some porn, the amount of categories is just mind-boggling. And some of the stuff that people are into, I'm sorry, it's just disgusting. It's disgusting. But some of these people, man, that's why I say this, a lot of these things in society is psychologically affecting people. And you never know, these people be on this porn sites and watching this shit, and all of a sudden he has to act this shit out, Jack. So, I mean, women, you should be the number one gun motherfucking enthusiast, the number one person for the Second Amendment, the number one person for carrying weapons. I mean, there's some crazy motherfuckers out. And it's a lot of sexually repressed men because men aren't getting the women like they used to. They are not. There's a lot of what they would call incels now.
Like, the ladies are traumatized. That's very, very scary.
Rachel Riggins, who's a regular here, says she'll be on alert every time she walks through the doors.
Not just looking out for myself, but who else is around me.
The manager told me Carlisle got into the gym with a guest pass. She says while they haven't made any security changes since the incident, she says they regularly do all they can to keep their members safe. Carlisle was arrested and charged with a felony count of peeping Tom, disorderly conduct, and sexual battery.
Ain't nothing funny about that, but something is funny about the word peeping Tom. I mean, what a scumbag. I used to call it peeking and Toming. Nah, this is sad. But yeah, women, ladies, you got to protect yourself.
That's ridiculous. I'm glad he's locked up.
At last check, Matthew Carlisle was still in the Cobb County Jail with a $5,000 bond. In Cobb County, Denise Dillon, Fox 5 News.
Ah, damn. What's this? Look, take a look at this clip. Vegan Florida mom sentenced to life and baby starvation's death. This is some of this shit, y'all. This is just, look at this lady. She has a demonic spirit on her. And I just said this in other videos, y'all. Witchcraft, Luciferianism, Satanism, all these different pagan religions are huge now. Sacrificing kids, blood drinking, cannibalism. I did a video on cannibalism being on the rise in America and worldwide. It's unbelievable, y'all. I had a man selling body parts on Facebook. I did the video. Let's take a look at this.
For days in jail.
30 years concurrent, count 3, 30 years concurrent, and each of the remaining third-degree felony counts will be 5 years in the Department of Corrections concurrent.
Sheila O'Leary was found guilty of first-degree murder after her 18-month-old son died from starvation. She showed no emotion learning her fate today.
Anything you'd like to say, ma'am, prior to sentencing?
During the investigation, O'Leary told police her family...
Damn, did you see how cold that was? No, you starved your baby to death. And they asked that you want to say anything. She didn't have no remorse. She wasn't crying. Wow. And I'm going to say this, and I'm not making no excuses for this bitch, but I guarantee you she was abused as a child. And this is why you don't want abusers around children. If they ain't received the psychological help that they need, these are the people that you see. And you say, why would somebody walk into a shower? Why would somebody feel a sexual act with a 13-year-old and have her kidnapped for 3 weeks? Because he was molested from the time he was 2. Or she was molested from the time she was 4 or 9 months. I seen they had a thing where they was molesting nothing but babies. 9 months and up. I mean, man, I don't know. But as you can see, that lady had no remorse, no feelings.
He ate a vegan diet. Records say O'Leary's 3 other daughters were also dehydrated and malnourished when the toddler was found dead. O'Leary is now ordered to have no contact with her children.
They're trying to terminate her rights as being mother. But, as I understand it, the oldest daughter is with the biological father in Virginia, and the other 2 younger girls, I don't know where they are. They may still be down here with a foster family.
O'Leary's defense attorney questions how someone can be convicted twice for the same crime.
The first charge was first-degree murder. The third charge was aggravated manslaughter of the same child, the baby. Can you get convicted twice is the legal issue.
Man, somebody need to shoot that bitch in her head. Seriously, y'all. Somebody need to shoot her dead in her fucking head. I'll probably say this video for tomorrow, but you can see another teacher indicted with indecency with a child. Listen to me, y'all. It's so many clips of white men and children. It's ridiculous. And let me say this. I don't want to say or make it seem like only white people molest. There's a lot of Hispanic men and there are some black people, but majority are white. And then it comes Hispanic, and every once in a while you could throw a Negro or a person of color, a black person somewhere in there. But these white men, man, some of these some real demonic. God damn. I mean, it ain't a baby or child. They seen they don't like. Look at this man in that middle. But I'm gonna say that video for tomorrow, y'all. But yeah, man, I just want to go over that. Talk about that Taiwan thing that's going over there with China and the South China Sea. Couple other news clips, that ring camera footage, y'all. But I appreciate you guys tuning in, man. I'm Samuel Koppel. I'm here for the news. Hit that like, hit that subscribe. I just took your ass on a sports, life, politics, TV ride. Peace.